as we all know, in education, the stuff that we're learning today is going to be basically useless in 3, 4, 5 years. Hi guys, Matt LaMarsh here with Keller Williams First Atlanta. Hope you guys are doing well. If you have a business or a nonprofit that you'd like to see featured here, please feel free to give me a call at 678-687-4397 or shoot me an email to matt@mattlamarsh.com. Thanks so much. I think that would be kind of cool to hear the background and how this all came to be, but also kind of where you see all of this going.
Yeah, so, really in 1972, the school was established, and the original name of the school was Mount Vernon School. And Mount Vernon Presbyterian Church, probably, a year or two later, from a preschool standpoint, sort of took over that preschool and incorporated it into the life of the church. And as most schools do, when they start out that way, they add grade levels and eventually added a number of grade levels and really became a preschool through grade 8 school for a number of years. And so in the early 2000s, really this community, especially people and their families that had sent their children here throughout that entire period, sort of indicated, why don't we build a high school? Why don't we have a vision around finding a plot of land to allow our children to continue on and actually graduate from Mount Vernon. Certainly they're going to great schools within the city, but hey, why don't we just continue that process and do it right here? And so what's interesting about it is obviously and this predates me, but when I hear about the different areas in which they were looking for, it was something that this location across the street from the original location, this was more towards the end of the process than at the beginning. So really what we know as the Glen campus today, and where our high school and middle school students reside, this was not the first couple of options that were identified by those founders, at the beginning. So it's just an interesting dynamic. So the school was really supported by the Glen family, Tom and Lou Glen, of really supporting the school and wanting to allow them to build the high school on this property. So we were originally in the early 2000s able to purchase a property of 30 acres across the street from the Mount Vernon Presbyterian Church campus of about 7 acres that currently houses preschool and lower school students for the most part. And we were able to purchase 30 acres and build a main building and some athletic space and that sort of thing, knowing that over time we'd build out the footprint, of this campus. So, since my arrival in 2009, we have renovated actually all those spaces on the Founders campus, the church campus. We have been able to add an additional building, the Mustang Athletic Center. We've actually also able to add 10 more acres. I believe somewhere in 2015, 2016, we were able to add 10 more acres to this Glen campus property. So in total, the Glen campus encompasses about 40 acres and 7 acres across the street. So 47, I guess, in total, the 7 in partnership with the church as we continue to work and collaborate with them. So because there's been quite a demand for Mount Vernon as a school, and as I've talked about the growth period, this is a school, company, organization that actually grew during the recession, which is really remarkable. And so, the support of our families and the word of mouth about Mount Vernon has been remarkable. So there's been such a demand on the school. When I first came 10 years ago, the high school had less than 110 students. So this is like our 12th or 13th graduating class. Today we have 110 freshmen. So we have more freshmen today than we had in the entire upper school 10 years ago. So it's been remarkable. So with that has caused us to build a new building for our upper school students. So the main building that we're conducting this interview in today is where high school students reside, but middle school students will move into this building next year in August of 2019, and then our upper school students will move into a very unique, innovative creative, collaborative space in August of 2019. It has some. It's about a 50,000 square foot facility. It has some unique products in this building. For example, the glass is an interesting product. So the glass in this building. So certainly we had to purchase glass because it would require that. But instead of just having a vendor and supplying the glass for any sort of building, we always look at opportunities as partnerships and projects where companies can actually invest in what we're doing, and then it can be mutually beneficial to assist them in some way. So we have partnered, and we hope that we're partnering with companies that have similar values.
Sure.
So we partnered with an innovative company out of Silicon Valley called View Glass. They do a lot of Amazon and Google type of buildings. They're also in the higher ed space. They're not as much in the K-12 space. So in this region of the country, from a K-12 environment, preschool through 12 environment, this product does not exist except for now in this part of the region of the country. And this glass is dynamic intelligence glass. So it understands what's happening on the outside. In other words, how light or dark it is on the outside, whether it's raining that day or it's like today, no cloud in the sky and the sun is out, which is nice. The glass understands that.
Wow.
And will shade the glass 4 different shades based on what's happening on the outside. So it can automatically do that, or I could control each panel with a smartphone if I needed to. So what's great is it doesn't require any interior shading, which costs money. It removes all glare from the sun when it is out. And what also it allows it to do is reduce the tonnage to heat and cool the building. So it's environmentally friendly. It's cost effective. It is cognitively the more light you have in a learning environment, the better. So research certainly plays that out just from a learning environment. And it's an innovative company that shares similar values. And we know that as they bring clients on campus, because this becomes a showcase place for them, we also get to continue to tell our story.
Sure.
And potentially create additional partnerships out of that. Another unique part of the building is around the interior walls of the building. So it's important to have as much flexibility and agility as possible. And so you want to be able to contain as many spaces as you want or open them up as much as you want. And so basically the interior walls of this building, there are no fixed interior walls. So all the walls move vertically up into the ceiling. The sound rating is actually better at sheetrock sound rating or better, and so it really it doesn't have the sound that you might think between those. They're all writable surfaces too, so I can create 3 spaces, I can create 2 spaces, I can create 1 large space. So many schools, just historically, you're in a hallway and you see a set of classrooms on one side and a set of classrooms on the other. This is a building where all the interior walls move, and there are 22 garage doors in this building too. Wow. So the doors themselves, while there are actual traditional doors to a classroom, there are also these large openings. So the flexibility is not only in the interior, but is also speaking out into corridor spaces where learning extends into other areas. So just giving you a flavor of what's inside this building. And it's very unique. In at scale, you would not necessarily see this in a preschool 12 environment.
Yeah.
And so we look forward to, we have probably 200 to 300 educators that come to Mount Vernon every year throughout the country. So right here in Sandy Springs, matter of fact, even our summer experiences, we have them stay at a local hotel right here in Sandy Springs. Just to, we also like to have events, whatever they may be, right here in the city to continue to promote that. But with those visitors that come to us, we know that there'll be many more. And with those visitors from around the country, they're coming right into the city and seeing, where we are. We, going back to a concept that we talked about earlier around being a private school with a public purpose, we also know, in terms of, the homeless community here in Sandy Springs and the struggles of under-resourced areas in Sandy Springs. And so we want to, the Community Action Center and the great work that the Community Action Center does, we want to be integral partners we're entitled to nothing as a school. We don't expect people to give us anything, but how can we serve, and rather than just be served? How can we give rather than just take? As a school community, and this building will provide so many opportunities for that.
Yeah. Well, as we were talking about before, with all the decisions that have to be made to take on something as simple as what just seems like glass, right?
Yeah.
But to take it to such another level and to have the strategy behind it, to me, is really cool, you know, because something like that could easily just be written in and say, another glass window, another glass door.
This is how much it costs. This is a part of your budget.
Exactly. But to take all of those things into consideration, I think is really cool. And it shows the level of intensity and intent, I think, that you guys have, thinking beyond, you know, the here and now, which is really cool. So talk a little bit about the future. I mean, as we all know, in education, the stuff that we're learning today is going to be basically useless in 3, 4, 5 years, but certainly for these foundational years of kindergarten through 12th grade. You know, what are you guys looking at? What are the trends that you guys see, and what are the benchmarks that you're trying to set forth to not just differentiate you guys, but differentiate your students as they go out of their senior year in high school and into college?
No doubt. If you look at our current strategic plan that tends to be, you know, again, ambitious and audacious, it really has a number of strands through it that I think that is referencing what you're asking. You know, part of it is around just the learner, whether that be the adult learner as the teacher, administrator, or the parent, or the student learner, and how do you continue to push forward and allow people to have the freedom and autonomy to grow and pursue a curiosity and passion. That's really interesting when you have all these learning outcomes, you know, per grade level, and it has to build, somewhere. But we're really interested in how do we continue to diversify the network for our students? So regardless of the grade level, we want them interacting with people from a diverse set of industries, diverse set of populations, a diverse set of experiences, so that and this is not about career day, this is really about having them evaluate our students' work, give them feedback, empathize with people, connect with people, cultivate new partnerships. Preschoolers can do it, 6th graders can do it, and juniors, can do it. Another thing that we continue to look at a great deal is we know more about mind, brain science education than we ever have before. So this neuroscience field continues to emerge, and we learn more things about the brain. And what we know is, just even for the two of us, we both have a jagged profile where I have areas of strength where you might not, and you have areas of strengths where I don't. It doesn't mean that I'm better than you or you're better than me, but it indicates that we have a better understanding of understanding you, what you're uniquely capable of, and how can we continue to tap into that and learn from it as a way to continue to push you forward. So I feel like there's kind of this new frontier around neuroscience, and the more we're learning, the more that we can equip our staff, and the more that they can have an impact on students. More is being diagnosed. It's not as if these are new learning difference discoveries or potential, but it's because we know more. And if we know more, if we're equipped from a staff perspective, from an adult perspective, we really can have a larger impact upon students. We continue to look at how to assess students differently. We know that just a list of numeric averages and a list of courses is only one data point to who a student is. And I know we all think that our children are uniquely special to us, because they are, and because of that we know that our children are more than just a numeric average. And so how do you not only set the conditions for unique experiences for them, like working with corporate or nonprofit partners, but also giving feedback in the way that is more about the learning than what you earn. And so that's important. You're going to continually see that more emerge in the country. We're a part of a consortium of schools across the country that is actually reimagining the transcript and actually making an impact, in particular on Tier 1 universities in the country. And Mount Vernon is an active member in that conversation. So it's how can we best equip students and continue to have more authentic moments of learning, assess them in a more authentic way, and how do we know more about who they are as a way to do that, are all things we continue to look at. And then finally, the World Economic Forum and their Future of Jobs report, continues to put out, a set of important skills that are critical of entering the workforce today. And school is not just about the workforce, but as one important facet of it is that you see the skills that are listed, and these are around coordination and people management and critical thinking and problem solving. And I think, adults, no matter what industry they're in, they could always identify people that lack people management and coordination and critical thinking and problem solving. And we just say we don't want to be a school that says, when you get to college or graduate school, really get deeper into those skill sets. We're saying that knowledge is important here. We're still teaching kids how to read and write and compute and understand the concepts behind that. But in addition to that, or connecting to that, are particular skills to be an effective communicator, to be a creative thinker, to be a problem solver, to really be intentional on incorporating those skill sets in what the work that's being done, as well as assessing that along the way, which is hard to do. We feel like the skills and dispositions are just as important and are interdependent to the knowledge that we're trying to impart. Because, as someone said, if knowledge doesn't go anywhere, then it just sits there and really, like you're saying, will die and go away. Mm-hmm. So how can the knowledge be active and applicable and move forward? We want our students to be engaged citizens, and in order for them to do that, knowledge has to go somewhere more than just a test of the way in which we went to school. I think one final thing to really mention that really accentuates the work here at the school, if we're truly wanting to be a school that is a multiplier in the education space, and certainly our primary responsibility and investment is right here at Mount Vernon with our students and our families. But we also have a strong desire and passion to be a multiplier in the space. So as a way to do that, in I think around 2012, we've launched the Mount Vernon Institute for Innovation. And so this Institute for Innovation is this transformation hub that actually serves the corporate community, nonprofits, and civic environment as well. Mainly in the education space, but it has the impact well beyond that. And so this is a group that not only does the type of research that helps us advance the work here at the school, but also host various experiences. And one of those experiences is a summer experience for educators right here at Mount Vernon. So we have educators from around the country, and we've had them as far as India and South America, other parts of the globe that have actually attended this experience. And so this experience, even if you're not in the education sector, we really employ or deploy a design thinking method and protocol that is becoming more in vogue in the corporate sector as well as across other educational organizations. We've trained many educators in particular, but this would be applicable for any training for anyone outside of that. And we host a summer of experience. Matter of fact, we're starting, and it's called Fuse. And it's in June, and you can find the information to this experience on the Institute for Innovation website. It's mvifi.org. Gotcha. mvifi.org. And on that, actually, we're starting the experience, uniquely enough, at the City Springs Performing Arts Theater.
Nice.
So we're starting there as a large venue, almost like a TED-like experience, where you'll have a number of people, experts, speak in short form to the work, and we'll start out the day, the experience there, and then the last 2 days of the experience although their various tracks are right here at the Mount Vernon campus.
Nice.
So it's a unique experience that anyone can tap into from the education community and well beyond that, to kind of check out in a informal, kind of an indirect way of what the work is here at Mount Vernon. But our goal is, how can we continue to be a multiplier in the space? And while that has really served Mount Vernon students and teachers really well, it's also served people outside of that. We currently we have an official partnership with Georgia Tech and the Industrial Design Division within their university. We're their sole preschool through 12 partner in the work that they're doing in the Industrial Design Division specific to design thinking. So that level of deepening of that expertise comes out in these experiences. In many respects, we connect with social entrepreneurs right here in the city and beyond that. So it's really this collision of people and industries that come together and have a real intimate experience over the course of 2 to 3 days. So love for anybody to check that out.
Yeah.
If you're interested, certainly.
Absolutely. We'll include the link for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Of course.